गुड इव्हनिंग एव्हरीवन. नमस्कार, सुस्वागतम. महाराष्ट्र औद्योगिक विकास महामंडळ प्रस्तुत लोकसत्ता उद्योग संपन्न महाराष्ट्र चर्चासत्र 2025 मध्ये उपस्थित मान्यवरांचं लोकसत्ताच्या वतीने मनपूर्वक स्वागत करतो. एकदा जोरदार टाळ्या आपल्याकडनं अपेक्षित आहेत. धन्यवाद. पॉवर्ड बाय वर्ल्ड ट्रेड सेंटर मुंबई. उद्यमशील महाराष्ट्राच्या जडणघडणीतील आगामी संधी तसंच आव्हानं आणि त्या दिशेने उपाय आणि सज्जतेसाठी मग उद्योजक, विश्लेषक, प्रशासन आणि धोरणकर्ते यांना एकाच व्यासपीठावरती आणणारं लोकसत्ता उद्योग मंथन म्हणजे आजचं हे चर्चासत्र आहे. त्याची सुरुवात जी आहे ती आपण औपचारिकतेने करूया. मी मान्यवरांना व्यासपीठावरती आमंत्रित करतो. सर्वप्रथम मी आमंत्रित करतो माननीय दिनेश जोशी सरांना. एकदा जोरदार टाळ्या त्यांच्यासाठी झाल्या पाहिजे. लाईक टू कॉल अपॉन स्टेज सर. अध्यक्ष आहेत सप्तगिरी समूह तसेच सहअध्यक्ष आहेत फिक्की महाराष्ट्राचे. यानंतर मी आमंत्रित करतो माननीय प्रतीक अग्रवाल साहेब यांना. व्यवस्थापकीय संचालक आहेत स्टरलाइट इलेक्ट्रिक. सरांना विनंती आहे त्यांनी कृपया व्यासपीठावरती यावं. त्यांचं सुद्धा खूप खूप स्वागत. यानंतर मी आमंत्रित करतो माननीय अनंत गोयंका साहेब यांना. उपाध्यक्ष आहेत RPG ग्रुप. एकदा जोरदार टाळ्या त्यांच्यासाठी झाल्या पाहिजे. सरांचं खूप खूप स्वागत. यानंतर मी आमंत्रित करतो माननीय श्री राधाकृष्णन B सरांना. एकदा जोरदार टाळ्या त्यांच्यासाठी झाल्या पाहिजे. सन्माननीय अध्यक्ष आणि व्यवस्थापकीय संचालक आहेत महाजेनको. आपण थेट चर्चासत्राला सुरुवात करणार आहे. तोपर्यंत माननीय दीपेंद्र सिंह कुशवाहा सर पण येतील आणि मग ते आपल्याला जॉईन होतील. पण पुढची चर्चासत्रासाठी जी पुढची सूत्र आहेत ती मी माननीय महेश नायक, एडिटर फायनान्शियल सेक्टर, फायनान्शियल एक्सप्रेस यांना सुपूर्द करतो. सर प्लीज.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for making your time here at the start of the week. It's a very interesting topic which we'll be discussing with our panelists here. How to take Maharashtra to a $1 trillion economy. It's a very interesting topic and we have eminent panelists here. They don't require introduction. We have already done this and we'll just straight away get into our act without... The government is, trying all hard for the private capex to kickstart. And I would throw this question open to all the panelists here. Anyone can take it before we indulge ourselves into how Maharashtra can become a $1 trillion economy. That what's really restricting private companies and private sector, and to kickstart and invest in India, where there's so much efforts, because in the last few years we are only seeing government spending. So I'll start with Anant, who is there on my right, to Mr. Goenka. You could just help us to understand why private capex is not increasing in India.
Yes, I think fundamentally private capex has not gone up enough in my view because of demand itself. If you look at demand for products has been relatively stable. If you look at overall economic growth has been 6.5% to 8%, 7.5%. A lot of it, as you said, is coming out of public expenditure. The balance, some amount is coming out of whether it is growth in factories or demand. I think, so that is the fundamental reason in my view that demand is not picking up. Now, why is that not happening? Post-COVID, generally inflation has been at a higher level. And that has caused some slowdown in demand. You look at overall news from FMCG companies, over many years we've seen the growth that was there has not been up to the mark. So I think that is one major fundamental reason for capex not coming up. One or two areas where I think Indian industrialists can do better, I think one is how do we create a brand for the world. We still don't have a global brand. We still don't invest enough in marketing, go-to-market, R&D as a percentage. So I think we need to do more towards investing enough to create a market for for US, for Europe, and build a brand around the world, but not a single brand that I can think of that is well known around, Indian brand that is around the world. So if we change that aspect of ourselves, possibly we can see better demand coming in through new R&D, through new innovation. But otherwise, I think Indian entrepreneurs are fundamentally very entrepreneurial. If demand is there, there is guaranteed that we will invest.
Thank you very much, Mr. Goenka. I think I'll come to Mr. Joshi, and Mr. Joshi, you being the co-chair for FICCI, what is the industry really, as Anand Goenka really talked about, Mr. Goenka talking about demand, but is that the real concern? Because no entrepreneur will put in money if it's not going to make money. But can you throw some insight on, what are the real concerns? Because you hold that position and talk to many.
सर्वप्रथम लोकसत्ता हे मराठी न्यूजपेपर असल्यामुळे मला मराठीने सुरू करू द्या आणि मी आभार मानतो आनंद गोयंकाजी इंडियन एक्सप्रेस आणि अख्ख्या एक्सप्रेस ग्रुपचा. I would also like to say that Mr. Anand Goenka is also the senior vice president of FICCI. So I think what he said, I completely resonate that, but I would also like to add that we have done enough of investment into infrastructure. And I think especially Maharashtra, we have seen, good projects coming up which has eased a lot of transportation as well as the logistics issue. So I think the moment the infrastructure is in place, automatically the investment will follow. Because what Maharashtra needs to do is invest more into infrastructure, but at the same time also, we need to see that the land rates which are there, I think that's exorbitantly very high as compared to the other states. So if there is a complete focus on developing industrial areas purely as industrial areas and not get into more of the real estate development, or they use here a lot of the manufacturing picking up, people will invest in Maharashtra. And I feel that the one of the reasons which Mr. Goenka gave about the demand, I completely agree with that. We do have a good growth rate as compared to the various other countries in the world. So we are doing extremely well, and I'm sure that it will pick up over the time. Thank you.
Coming to you, Pratik, just wanting to understand what is your view on the same, and you touched upon, growth should be inclusive and, sustainable. So how do you see this when we are taking the state towards the $1 trillion mark? Which are the areas do you think, we see the opportunity as well as challenges? How do you see this?
So firstly, thank you very much for having me. It's a privilege to be here. Thank you so much. I'll say a few things. Firstly, maybe we reframe the question. Is private sector capex happening at a particular pace? But maybe we broaden the question to private sector led growth, because then that adds a few more areas to it. There's of course manufacturing capex, which my colleagues have addressed, but then there are services which don't actually have capex in the beginning but contribute quite substantially to GDP growth. And I would say the entire piece around global capability centers, where India is having a bit of a brand, to Anand's point, is still early days. But I think that's something that that's likely to grow with our English-speaking population and with our engineering talent. So I think looking at services equally is also quite important. And then there is private sector-led infrastructure investment, which I think is a huge potential, especially in places like Maharashtra. The government of India has benefited drastically with the PPP program, starting with roads, highways, airports, and now very firmly into power sector, including transmission and renewables. And I think now it's high time for a state like Maharashtra perhaps to take a lead. They've already done many things in this. I'm not saying nothing has been done, but perhaps we could think of a significantly larger portion of infra investment, both transport infra and power infra, to come almost entirely from the private sector, where the government bodies are definitely sitting on top, whether it is the large generation companies, transmission companies, road companies, and they award large PPP contracts to the private sector. So that could be a way of driving private sector capex. I think coming back for a minute to two large points I'll make. One is when it comes to manufacturing investment, apart from the land point, which is extremely critical. I mean, ideally, so one is to Anand's point, if you're catering to Indian demand, then you have to wait for the demand to come. But if you're catering to global demand, then you have to just beat your counterparts in China, Cambodia, Indonesia, and Vietnam. And for that, you need two things to be at least as good as them. One is your ease of business, which is to do with land acquisition, approvals, permits, etc. And second is power cost. I think availability of round-the-clock power, preferably green, at 6 rupees delivered to the bus bar is a bare minimum requirement to really compete with the world's best, because power is going to be a significant component of your cost profile. Last thing I would say is R&D. Again, Anand mentioned this. I think real manufacturing, which is not just conversion or assembly, but real manufacturing, requires fundamental ownership of IP and patent. And can Maharashtra have its own state policy for R&D? I know the last budget talked about R&D grants for large corporations, but it would be really helpful if, like what China has done, every 10 years they select 3 or 4 industries and then the whole country is focusing on those industries. So can Maharashtra select 3 or 4 such industries, could be in clean tech, could be in similar places, and actually incentivize R&D in Maharashtra?
Great, thank you, Pratik. And I'll just take this to Mr. Radhakrishnan because you made a very important point, the requirement of power. And he is one of the pioneers and providing, electricity for the state. So how do you see this? How do we see an change in from an thermal based to green energy, and how important are we today in the state, to provide electricity for not just residents but also to corporates, for industries?
Thank you. If you look at, like my fellow panelists mentioned, power is going to be one of the main growth engines if we really want to reach the 1 trillion mark. Per se, one of the biggest bottlenecks as on today is like power is one of the impediments, I would say. Whereas if you look at the journey of power sector in Maharashtra, especially in the last 5 years, if you have seen it, there's a lot of focus on renewables actually. Like, there has always been a question about how do we integrate renewables in our existing grid. The issue always remains from a lot of technical side, and how do we, like one of the important things, like how are we going to bring in all the capex investments in the renewables and integrate them successfully to the existing grid system, and can we harness some benefits out of it actually by translating it into an affordable power cost actually. The good news is actually like it's been, if you look at Maharashtra per se, like since independence till today, like our Mahajanko, if you take it actually, like Mahajanko caters almost 1/3 of the state's power demand even today. So if you look at it, we have created almost 13,000 megawatt of energy generation capacity. So with the integration of renewables, with the right models and policy mix we brought in, I'm happy to tell you that in the next 10 years we will be doubling it actually. And that when we double the energy generation, the majority of the new energy component is going to come from solar, and a lot of almost 5+ gigawatts is going to come from pump storage. The next question about renewable comes, one is the variable nature of the power. The other one is like how are we going to bring the power to the most important need of the hour, like a need of the day, the evening time, night time, storage. So all these issues are comprehensively being addressed right now. So when we say, like when we are doubling the power, natural question comes, like one of the panelists asked, like will it be an affordable power? Definitely it's going to be affordable power. If you have come across, Maharashtra is the only state in the country currently have declared, like in the next 5 years, we have a 5-year period of MIT period, we call it actually. So in the next 5 years, we would be seeing a reduction in power cost as per the regulations. That is mainly predominantly come from the transition, green transition. In addition, the kind of investments which ideally one should look into it. We are looking at on the solar front, PSP front. We are even venturing into green hydrogen to take care of like the hard to abate sectors actually, like heavy industry sectors, petroleum sectors and those kind of things. So these are the key measures we are doing, which will ensure the affordability, and we are bringing in a lot of flexibility to the consumers actually. So there would no more completely a monopolistic way of power sector. You would, as a consumer, you would have a lot of flexibility and options before you to choose among the best service providers, and that will bring in a lot of competitiveness in the sector itself.
Great, thank you. Anant, I just wanted to understand from you, while we talked about ease of business, which is happening, what are the incentives a corporate India today is looking out, and particularly in Maharashtra, for setting up? Because you mentioned that 50% of your production line is in Maharashtra. How easy is it to do business in this state vis-a-vis other states where you are? So these are two questions from my side on ease of doing business, and what incentives are you really looking out from the state?
Yeah, no, I think Maharashtra has huge advantages. I mean, whether it is the soft power of Bollywood in Bombay, to being the financial capital, connectivity, being next to port, being the center of India. Nagpur is the central point of India. So to that extent, there are several advantages of setting up factories in Maharashtra. We have 17 factories in the country, 9 of which are in Maharashtra. So I think whatever we say, we have seen success and happiness over the last, say, 60 to 70 years of being in the state. So to that extent, we are big believers in the state, and we have continued to invest year on year on year. Reason we sometimes invest outside very often is because we already have a plant in Maharashtra, and the second factory has to be somewhere else for logistical reasons, etc. I'd say from an incentive perspective, I think you have to be competitive again. There is no specific numbers, but there are SGST related incentives that are there, capital investment incentives that are there. And I'd say Maharashtra has a very clearly laid out incentive policy, which is competitive to the rest of India. So I would not say there is anything more that needs to be done. I think one point which Prateek touched upon a little bit, where Maharashtra can do better, is power cost. I think that is the highest in the country. It's one of the most important factors of production, and to that extent that can be better. But otherwise, if you look at challenges of doing business in Maharashtra relative to other places, there's not much that I have to complain in terms of various approvals, ease of access to government to get things done. There is overall, we've not had any major issue. There are one-off specific issues that arise in different states. Okay, we've had this specific problem, or here those things do come up. But overall, I'd say it's been a good place to do business. Yes, good things have gotten better. Infrastructure takes time to invest. We can clearly see the change that is happening in terms of the infrastructure investment. I did some basic study on few key areas on ease of doing business. And actually, surprisingly, one state that is coming out to be quite good is Telangana. So we looked at certain areas of, consent from the environment. Telangana is at 7 days for green plants, whereas Maharashtra is 30 days. Building plan approval is 7 to 14 days. Maharashtra is 60 days. Fire approval 14 days for Telangana. Maharashtra is 15 to 30 days. So there are certain areas we can do. I'd say directly, have I heard challenges? Not really. But when you look at certain aspects of comparison, I think there are certain areas I'm sure we can largely do better. But the one big thing comes to mind is power cost we can bring down.
So I'll take this to Prateek, and yes, you rightly touched upon power, and Mr. Radhakrishnan talked about in the next coming years how power will become cheaper and easily available. I wanted to touch on land, which we are seeing. Usually there is a connect that seeing the triangle of Mumbai, Pune and Nasik, the development is not happening beyond that. Yes, Nagpur is one where we are. Do you think a land cost is also acting as an hurdle for growing industries in Maharashtra?
So absolutely, land cost is an issue actually in many parts of the country. But if you really double click on that problem, why is land high? Is it that we don't have enough land in the country of India to support business? That's not quite the case. right? There continues to be a vast majority of land that still remains unutilized. So actually it comes back down to infrastructure, right? More we invest in infrastructure, which is transport infrastructure as well as power infrastructure, the more land becomes available, right? There's enough probably land in Maharashtra to serve, Maharashtra's needs and beyond that. But yes, I think there has been infrastructure largely in limited places. For example, China in the last 30-40 years would have created 2,000 fresh industrial clusters. And how many have India or Maharashtra created, right? So I think, but having said that, the kind of investment we have seen, especially in the Bombay area in the last 3-4 years and the next 3-4 years, is nothing close to unbelievable. I mean, this is going to change, transform the MMR region with the Warsaw link, the East-West link, the metros. Bombay is going to be an incredible place to, incredible place to be. So I think, yes, if the government can make a more, somehow fix this, that if an entrepreneur wants to come, set up high-tech manufacturing, wants 20, 30 acres, 50 acres of land, preferably with, ready to start construction, effectively what MIDC was set up to do as well at some point in time, I think that would go a long way in terms of just attracting more upfront capital for manufacturing.
Maharashtra in terms of GSPD, gross state domestic product, is number one. But when it comes to per capita, we are not. We are among the top 5, but we are not the top 3. How do we take that inclusive growth? Because one thing is that if anyone new comes in, housing is not affordable. So, Mr. Joshi, I can put this to you and just trying to understand what needs to be done beyond Mumbai, and because rightly said, infrastructure has to be there, then industries will go in, but everyone comes into the MMR region, but we have a big state to really grow further from a few cities. So how do we see that, and what do we do to have inclusive growth as well as across the region, across the state?
So I think one has to look beyond Mumbai and Pune. That is the first thing. And recently I have visited Sholapur. Sholapur has done extremely well as far as the infrastructure development is concerned. The connectivity is very good. I mean, Vande Bharat goes there in straight 5.5 hours. So I think these satellite towns should come up as far as the industries are concerned. So if we declutter Mumbai or Pune for that matter, or even Nasik, probably we'll come up with much better infrastructure in other parts. So I think we should look at that as first. Secondly, I think Mr. Agarwal touched very much on the power cost. I think that is very, very important, because if you want industries to survive in Maharashtra, the power cost has to come down to a great extent. I think most of the towns which have been there, like Nasik, Pune has developed to a great extent. Nasik has not. As compared to that, I have seen Solapur, which has done much better than Nasik in a short period of time. So if we have places like say Aurangabad, Kolhapur, Sangli, where there are if we can have clusters. Aurangabad is an auto cluster. In Pune you have the German clusters. So I think if we can look at creating clusters which can help the industry, probably we'll see more investment coming in. But what is also very important is the infrastructure in those areas. If we have good infrastructure, then only you will be able to have good logistic movement out there. So I think decluttering Mumbai and Pune, and then spreading around in different part of Maharashtra, creating better infrastructure would definitely bring in more investment in Maharashtra.
Thank you. I just want to put this to anyone who can take it, and the important part is the human capital and talent pool. How do we leverage that for growing to a $1 trillion economy by 2029 for the state? So, Mr. Radhakrishnan, you could take this for us, and then I can come to other panelists.
So, before answering your question, I want to add to the point, like one of the panelists saying, like, how do we expand ourselves out of Mumbai actually? Like one of the example is like with the Samruddhi in place actually, like right. we are now connected end to end from both the corners of the states actually. What we are doing, if you look at power per se actually, like today we don't have the problem of generation actually. Like we have a sufficient power generation capabilities, and we are generating more than what we need today, and we have ourselves for the next 5 to 10 years with the kind of growth rate and demand which the industry, customers, residential growth we have. The question comes actually, are we good enough to give a power, quality power, the reliable power to any nook and corner of the state or any particular place wherein the land is one of the problems you were saying, like one of the places where the land is more affordable, can we make it actually? So the biggest challenge in any developing country, and more specifically to countries like India and especially Maharashtra, the transmission and evacuation infrastructure actually. So what's happening currently is like we are investing hugely on the transmission infrastructure actually. So what we are going to see is actually like what the kind of the quality power which we used to have in the erstwhile Golden Triangle, which we would be able to see in Solapur, Latur and other places actually. So that is the kind of thing which we are doing. And one more thing what we are trying to do is in terms of is like one of the biggest problems which the industry faces due to the cross subsidy issues, which in a socially when we address this issue of power, the industry is the one who takes care of the cross subsidy issues. With the advent of MSKV, with the Mukhyamantri Saur Krishi Yojana, what we are doing is actually we are trying to solarize the agriculture feeders actually. So naturally the cross subsidy, which means the power which we used to give at 8 rupees, 9 rupees to a farmer and due to subsidize it later, is going to come drastically, and that is going to address most of the issues which we face in the industry side. Coming to the human capital aspect, I would say like to a inclusive growth, human capital and our end-to-end overall holistic approach is going to be very important actually. Take an example of like power sector per se, in that if you take establishing a solar park actually. So to create a solar park, it's no more a project of a multinational company or a company from know-how and supply chain completely linked to China and everybody do it actually. So when we create a market and when we create a kind of an enabling environment with the right kind of skill sets, we would be able to make it actually. That is why we are seeing actually solar prices have come down drastically. So human capital actually, we would be able to leverage it provided we adequately identify and plan it well in advance actually. For example, like today I am saying like we would be doubling our energy generation in the next 10 years. So we have already identified where we would be requiring the skill sets in the next 5 to 10 years. For example, today we don't do pump storage infrastructure anywhere in the country for that matter actually, except there are 1 or 2 here and there examples are there. But we would be requiring people who would be good at creating reservoirs, good at making pin stock, a lot of technology related, and who would be able to make it the make in India aspects of it actually and bring in the competitiveness to the industry. So we are closely working with IIT Bombay, we are working closely with many reputed institutions to ensure that the right kind of skill sets would be created and people would be appropriately oriented towards the sector which government is expecting, and that is going to create a kind of a synergistic outcome in the days to come actually. So I think that's the way actually.
Thank you. Now that we have Mr. Kushwa on the panel, so we were discussing literally how easy is it to do business in Maharashtra as well as the incentive provided by the government. So to start with, while the panelists have thrown some light on this, would want you to throw some insights on what is the state of Maharashtra done for easing business and attracting corporate India to invest in the state.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, I want to submit my apology for the delay. I got stuck into something. In terms of Maharashtra and especially ease of doing business, all we know, we are the first state. Now the biggest challenge before us to defend this position, because every state is trying their best to compete with Maharashtra or Gujarat or the top doing states. So we need to understand the pulse of the industries and the investors. In that sense, what we are doing, we are trying to make the processes simple. We are trying to reduce the time of approvals. We are trying to reduce the cost of doing business. We are trying to reduce the compliances. So this is all happening simultaneously through various initiatives taken by the state government as well as by the central government. Yes, today also we had a meeting about the deregulation. So what are the laws which are not necessary now, which were made uh, many years back to regulate? Because now we are in an era of globalization, liberalization, privatization. Now we don't need to regulate the business. We don't need to control the business. Our role is a facilitator. So one major and the most important initiative taken by the state government is the Maitri Act, which is our nodal and single window system. This act says for any investor they want to invest in Maharashtra, they will get all the permission within a very specified time limit. And how does this act do? Because if any investors applies through the single window system, the competent authority are bound to decide those matters or those applications within a specified time. If they don't, then the power goes to the Empower Committee, and Empower Committee will give all those permission irrespective of the department or authority within the next 7 to 15 days. So this is a very revolutionary act, and I believe this effective implementation of this act and the single window system will make the journey of the investors very easy and smooth. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So I think, Anand, that's really the point which you touched upon. I suppose Mr. Kushwaha has answered saying that what really we are doing. But one thing which troubles everyone, and that is AI. AI is disruptive. We cannot say that nothing is. You can't just shut it. We have to live in that era. So how do you see that? How do you see AI really disrupting your business? And what are the measures you're taking to really work on?
No, I think one has to embrace AI in whatever they are doing. In our case, we found specific areas where we have found big business benefit. To give you a couple of examples, one is we have mixing is a very important part of our manufacturing process for tires. Various compounds go into a mixer. The mixer size is about 3 stories in height. It is the largest power guzzler in our factory, and there are various stages of mixing a compound has to go through. Earlier there would be standard systems that if this compound has to be made, it has to be mixed for so long, it has to go through 3 stages, X, Y, Z. Now with AI what we are doing is we are measuring live what is the viscosity, for example, of the material. Can it go through 2 stages, for example? With that, we are finding huge power savings that are coming in through the mixer, and therefore finally financial benefits. Second aspect, example that I'd be happy to share is on enablement of sales capability. So today when a salesperson goes to sell a product at the final sales location, there is huge amount of data they would earlier have to go through. Various Excel files, this is the target of the retailer, he has done so much, he has to sell so many more tires to get the necessary incentive, this is the performance, he's selling sand lorries from one place to the other, and so this is the right application. Today, all of that data is fed onto a database, and he will say, I am going to meet this dealer in this location, what do I sell to him? All of that data now through Gen AI gives feedback of our tires versus competition, says this is the tire you should sell to him, this is what he needs to do to achieve his incentive. So the enablement of the sales team is extremely high. So these are just 2 examples. There's many more that we can come out with. Lot of marketing, point of sales. Today you want to sell, you want to create a point of sales, you can say I want 2 people standing next to each other with a tire in the middle, and you create a POS in some way through for advertising, for visibility, etc. as well. People are creating ads on AI. So with all of that, you have to adopt AI. It is part of life, and it can result in huge advantages if you're in the forefront.
It's also, the reason to touch this question was also on employment. And today, if you see our education system, that is not into the curriculum. We go through a set pattern, 10 plus 2 plus 3. Today, even if you require a job, you need to be a graduate. I'm talking about a bare minimum. Today, we are in an era where anyone from anywhere can learn and gather and garner any type of knowledge. What do we do for these type of people? Because while formal education is important, how does these things change in our education system? And I think I can put this question to Prateek, if you could want to touch upon how we can look into this aspect of education in our state. And
so yeah, it's a tough one. I've been just myself getting used to the tools, and they are truly incredible. Listen, I think the whole world is debating this question, right? The impact of AI on industries and the impact of AI on employment. Certainly, I think one thing is for sure, that the base level work, basic research, basic analysis, things that one was doing with basic level education, it is very highly likely that AI will replace that. I think I'm quite convinced in the last couple of months that I've been using tools personally. Having said that, whenever there has been disruptive technologies in the last 100 years, by and large, economies have been able to embrace it and largely net benefit from it rather than net lose from it. I can't name a single disruptive technology where people were net losers. Generally, people were net gainers. It is a matter of time and reskilling. I think, like how Anand said, right, if everybody figures out how they can embrace it to make actually their product better, like whether it's creative worlds or many different worlds. So listen, this is a very large field. I mean, I can answer this from a very different angle, which is the power angle. AI is today the largest driver of power consumption in the world, especially in the US. And can Maharashtra, as Maharashtra wants to be New Bombay wants to be a data center hub for the world, can we be a real global hub for offering green data centers, which means 100% green power data centers, which is close to the landing station of Bombay, and not just move Indian data and Indian compute to the data center, actually compete with American data centers. I can tell you that with the work that we're doing here in generation, transmission, distribution, and green, like Maharashtra, for example, has the second best potential of wind in the country. Second best in the country. You combine that with solar anywhere in the country or in Maharashtra, combine that with pumped hydro, and you can deliver the cheapest round-the-clock renewable power in Maharashtra. Now, I would take a slight digression here. There are umpteen challenges in developing wind in Sholapur and places like that, which I won't address right now. If somebody can look into that, that'll be very helpful. But coming back to the point, AI data centers can be an incredible opportunity for Maharashtra. I think it's for us to harness.
Mr. Kushwa, can you give some insights on the same? Because end of the day, it's people, not everyone is ready to adapt to situations. How do you see this? Because if everyone on the panel, think that it is going to be a disruptor, how do we see this as from a government angle? How do we?
Yeah. As all speaker would agree to this point, we have to live with it. We can't avoid this. First thing, we need to accept this. Second, there are, as one of the example given by Anand and Prateek, in government also, there is a lot of delay which we can reduce by using of AI. There are issues with the AI. This will definitely kill some jobs, but it is going to create lot many new jobs. And according to create those jobs, we need to update our knowledge. We need to go with AI. So in government also, we have started doing those things. Government, I think, is the body having the largest database. But most of the time, we don't know what to do with this data. So AI is going to help us in the proper decision making. AI is going to help us to reduce that time taken in any decision making process, AI is going to help the government for the better service delivery. For example, in our Maitri portal, we have added one new feature of AI chatbot. You can ask as many questions you want, and you don't have to hesitate, or you don't have to think what this officer is going to think about me. I'm asking so many questions. No positive, no negative. This AI chatbot is purely neutral and will give you all the information, and this will try to satisfy you by giving all the information. So these kind of initiative, there will be multi-per initiative in terms of AI. There will be hundreds of examples in education, skilling. Skilling is going to be very crucial in the future, especially for the industries. And AI can play a very crucial role because we are having a limited resources for skilling also. But AI, again, can give you the same environment which is required in a factory or in a classroom or anywhere. So I believe there will be certain issues, but there will be more opportunities through AI in the system. Thank you.
It's going to be a part of our curriculum going ahead from the...
Yeah, definitely. We have to. We have already started taking initiative to take this as a part of our life, and education department is discussing to bring this into in a curriculum or even skilling also.
So I'll just take the same question to you, Mr. Radhakrishnan, is because you have you touched upon it briefly, but if you could elaborate that when you're saying that you are looking, 5 years, 10 years ahead, technology changes every day. It is absolute. And how do you really tackle this situation, and how do you, get everyone included in your ecosystem?
First of all, the AI aspect you were saying, AI is in fact an opportunity. I look at it as an opportunity for power sector, right? Because definitely it is going to increase the power demand exponentially, but on the other hand, it is giving the opportunity which we ideally can look for it actually. Why I am saying is because, like Mr. Pratik said, the data centers which we are planning to bring in, most of them are looking for a clean power, green power, looking for a power so that they will be able to generate climate finance and other aspects actually. But fortunately for Maharashtra, if you look at it actually, we are, in addition to solar, we have Western Ghats actually. We have many reservoirs on the either side of Western Ghats. So we are trying to club in this, wherever we have an upper reservoir, we are trying to create a lower reservoirs. And we are trying to create a situation like place like a Gatgar actually. We have an existing PSP, but we are trying to augment it with a new technology. We are trying to see that the power evacuation will be such that it will be, Gatgar being very close to Navi Mumbai, will be able to club it with a solar power in the daytime, and the evening time we can give it to using the PSP. So something like this, like basically like we need to understand what is our potential, what are our strongholds in the thing, and what kind of opportunities lying before us. So from the power sector perspective, we look at AI as an opportunity for our business purpose, and as well as for our, in fact, our regular operations. You take our operations actually, one of the biggest problem which we face in any power plant is actually the trippings, outages, which completely disrupts the entire ecosystem actually. So AI comes up with like Kushwa sir said, like our sector is completely filled with data actually. Like there is data everywhere, every minute, every second you are generating data. But how are we using that data appropriately? Are we able to harness it in a most effective manner so that our issues which we face in our day-to-day operations, in our project planning, are we able to streamline the things which the otherwise which never happened actually. So AI is helping us in a big way actually. So AI is going to be here, and we are going to live with it. If we can make it a best partner, we'll be most happiest.
Great, thank you. While I was discussing this with Pratik, we didn't discuss, but I thought he had mentioned this about environment, and I just wanted to understand from you. Yes, we are growing, we are seeing investments coming in, but environment is a big aspect. And how do you see that we go ahead with growth and sustainability, and environment plays a big role? How do we protect the environment with all this? One part is the green energy, which we have all spoken on this panel, but still I would, if you can put your thoughts to it.
I think for any state or city to have big aspirations on GDP growth, I think it has to first and foremost be a very livable place. People from the state, from all over the world, should want to leave wherever they are and come and live here with their families. And that requires many things to happen, including hard infrastructure, soft infrastructure. But I think one critical thing is the quality of air we breathe and the general hygiene in the area. And I think most countries starting from Paris and London, cities starting from Paris and London in the 70s, 80s faced this issue. Beijing, Shanghai faced this issue somewhere in the 2000 to 2010 period. Most of them faced an issue with excessive pollution, garbage issues in the cities, and low sort of general quality of living. But they went through a fundamental overhaul, all of them, where they had a complete cleanup act, polluting industries were moved out, heavy penalties on dust getting emitted into the air. So I think this is the time has come now for Maharashtra and its key cities, especially Mumbai, Pune, Nagpur, Nasik, to really think that can we compete in terms of basic air quality and cleanliness on the roads? Can we try in 5 years to be equal to Beijing, Shanghai, like not even Singapore or London, right? I think that should be a very critical goal, because over time our GDP will come more and more from services, financial services, entertainment industry, and that is fundamentally about people, the best of the best in the world and in the country, coming and wanting to live in one place and provide those services. So I think this is essential. There is, the last 5 years, Mumbai has had a worse winters than most previous years. AQI has gone up 120, 150, even 200 is not unusual. Respiratory diseases are going up. And 50-60% of this has got to do with construction debris, garbage waste, and a little bit to do with coal burning in power plants. That's about 60% of the pollution. So we have to tackle those three.
Mr. Kushwaha, do you want to add on this, because he's touched a very important aspect about health and pollution?
Thank you so much once again. So there are three important components if we have to talk about the sustainability. We have to talk about the environment. First is the resources, which are limited. So we need to optimize the use of the resources, including land. Now we are using the land, suppose one FSI, one floor industry. We need to think radically, can we have vertical industries? And if yes, then what should be the limit, or there shouldn't be any limit. Second, the raw material. Currently we are mostly using raw material in a linear manner. So we take raw material, make products and throw it. We need to go for the circularity of the this raw material and resources. Recycle, reuse it. Then, so resources are limited, but technology is unlimited, has a lot of potential in terms of environment protections. So this technology will change everything in terms of industry, in terms of recycling, in terms of resource management, everything. So the technology advancement and resource optimization both will ensure the goal of the sustainability. Third is the policy which has to maintain the balance between these two things. Okay, how the resource optimization will happen, how the technology advancement will happen, and how we will be able to protect the whole environment. So we are bringing a lot of initiative in our upcoming policies, or any policies which we are bringing. There will be provisions of the sustainability, green production, green energy, reduction in carbon emissions, circularity, everything. So these three are main aspects which we are continuously thinking, and will trying to bring the synergy between these three. Thank you.
We spoke about investments coming in, but yeah, Mr. Joshi, it's a long time. Would want your views. Maharashtra also in one way we need to talk about exports. How do we make this as an export hub, and what is the industry? How do we increase the exports from the state?
Just touch upon two things on AI. I mean, just a statement.
Please.
One is like AI would be the greatest enabler as far as ease of doing business is concerned. I think it would really reduce the time and also the cost. And whatever permissions which are not needed also can be, filtered around. So that is one. Second point, which Pratik spoke about, the clean energy. Just want to say that, I think we don't need to look at beyond India to see clean energy plant, because there's one of the largest plant which is in Southeast Asia, which is in Indore, and that generates about 20 megawatts per day. So it has been done by an Indian company, and we have interest in that. So it was a startup about 10 years ago. Today it's one of the largest as far as the bioenergy company generation is concerned. It's a company which is based in Bangalore. And from municipal solid waste, you can convert to energy. Secondly, Maharashtra has a very large sugar industry, and one can generate compressed biogas through press mud. So that is one more area which we are looking, and we have a equity joint venture with 50-50 equity joint venture with Indian Oil Corporation. So it's an Indian company, and I think there is a great future in clean energy as far as India is concerned. Coming to your question, I want to just sort of give a different thought if Mr. Kushwaha could consider. Number one is, we also have our presence in UAE, and just in Dubai there are more than 20 free zones, just in Dubai. So if something like that can be looked at, not just in Mumbai you can have 3 to 4 free zones, because we have that kind of potential, and in the entire Maharashtra we can create free zones which are sector based. So in Dubai you have sector based free zones. You have the IFZA, which is for IT. You have JAFZA, which is Jebel Ali free zone, which is mainly for logistics and manufacturing. So if we can look at creating free zones, it would really help a lot in our exports. I mean, SEEPS has been a great success, no doubt about it. So if we can have that model, that would really be. And also to pick up exports, one has to look at the logistics. I think if we have smooth logistics, we have good quality logistics, I think that would really help us in picking up the exports. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, please.
Again, when we talk of exports, we assume it's manufactured good export, which is very important, no doubt about it. But let's not forget exports of services, and even tourism is exports, because there's dollars coming into the state, right? And these are two complete, I would say, infinite potential areas, right? We have still by far the largest bilingual English-speaking and multiple-speaking language engineers and science students in the whole world. And I think that can we be the global capability center for the whole world? So I would think one of the things that I've learned recently from my travels around the world, especially China, is that it's important to pick 3 or 4 things and put all resources of the state, right? Because the state also has the limitations. You've got various welfare schemes. You can't incentivize everything. I think the mistake we make is that we take a kitty and we put it across 25 sectors, and then it's not enough for any of them. Can we focus on 5 things? 2 of them can be services, 3 of them can be products, but let's focus on 5 things and try and be the best.
Great. I just had a point. I think he touched upon a very interesting point on tourism. And the UP government has done that, because in 23-24 they had 32 crore tourists, out of which 70% went for religious tours. So we have that kind of potential to create the religious the pilgrimage sector, and I think that could sort of really help us to boost the tourism in Maharashtra.
Yes, please go.
Yeah, thank you. So let me tell you 1 or 2 facts, then I will touch upon that subject. First, yesterday only we were discussing what is the export of Maharashtra and how it is happening. So 5 districts are doing 75%, next 5 districts are doing 20%, and 25 districts are doing the 6%. So lot of untapped potential within all 36 districts or excluding 4-5 major districts, and the potential there which we need to touch upon, and we are working on a 10-point program to increase the export from each and every district of Maharashtra. One more fact, this is Government of India recently told us, you are also not aware, that Maharashtra is the only state where all the districts are doing export. So, with reference to Joshiji and Pratik's point, we are continuously working, and last year we have released our first export policy to support the export from each and every part of Maharashtra. But under that policy, we are having certain provisions to set up export-oriented project or export-oriented parks, including manufacturing facility within those parks. And government is giving a grant and other supports to create these parks. And 30 such parks will come in next 4-5 years in Maharashtra. But that is not again sufficient. I take your suggestion and will definitely put up with our upcoming industrial policy, which is about to come in next 1 or 2 months. Tourism is a sector, I think in the whole country, Maharashtra is having the highest potential in terms of tourism. Not only beautiful beaches, forts, national parks, forest, religious tourism, but also healthcare sector, medical tourism, education, and there are multiple opportunities. Last point about GCC, we are bringing our new GCC policy, and we are targeting especially the tier 2 cities, which is the target for the global companies also because of the cost and many other factors. So we are bringing new GCC policy. Under that, we are targeting to export the services, especially the IT services and fintech services. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
I'd like to just add one more element and put back the onus on the entrepreneur a little bit. I think one is, as entrepreneurs, are we solving problems of customers around the world? When we think, I'd say as a tire player, we would earlier make tires for India. Whatever extra tires were there, we would sell around the world. Now we are looking back and saying, okay, what is it unique that in Middle East they need? They go at high speeds, straight roads, 50 degrees temperature, make tires for that. US, very different, make tires for that. So you're going customer backward and solving customers' problems. I think Indian industry still needs to look at what do those customer needs, what are their problems, how are we solving their problems. Second is R&D, we are investing 1% in R&D. Global world spends, rest of the world spends about 3%. That needs to go up. And brand is the other area where we are under investing in brand. And the latest example we've seen is on the Kolhapuri chappal. We sell a Kolhapuri chappal for 500 rupees. Prada is selling it for 1.2 lakh rupees per chappal. So that is the power of the brand. You're putting a label on the same chappal and you're able to sell it for, I don't know, not only 200 times more or something like that. So how do we think about creating these long-term brands as entrepreneurs? And then the power and magic of exports will happen. Here we are talking about cost saving of 1-2%, but when you can generate value of 100x by investing in storytelling and brands.
Absolutely right. Before I have a closing statement from each of the panelists, I'll just open the floor for questions because audience are waiting for putting that. So one request, please identify yourself and one question at a time
Good evening.
per person.
Yeah, good evening all. I'm Atul Kharate. I'm representing Indian Oil Adani Ventures. Thanks for all insightful interactions, and a lot of things have already covered. But I think a couple of major points which we missed to interact. One is the Maharashtra refinery, which is a mega investment expected from last couple of years. So if not an really 16 MMTP of refinery, maybe to meet the increasing energy demand, it could be a 30 MMTP of refinery, which can add a lot of value to various sectors of the industries. That's one point. What are your thoughts and views about it? And maybe when we really talk about Maharashtra's uniqueness as an FDI investment, 1/3 of FDI is coming to Maharashtra. However, as it was mentioned by Mr. Goenka as well, how do we going to defend it? So I think the answer is largely a MSME and going to tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So what are our plans in terms of really having this rapid expansion in those areas of the industrialization? Thank you.
It
Yeah,
is
you could take
for
it.
me or?
No, you could take the question.
Okay.
From.
So let me answer the second question first. We are having a policy of the industrial policy which is talks about the regional balance within Maharashtra. And our focus under this policy is on tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So we have accordingly categorized all districts, and the districts which is industrially backward or the less developed will get the more incentive support for the investors to go and invest there. This is our first policy. Second, we are now trying to create the skilled workforce in tier 2 and tier 3, which is a very big challenge for the investors to get those kind of skilled workforce, especially in small towns. In upcoming policies, now we have identified few districts which are comparative to the top 10 districts and then top 20 districts not developed, and we are creating a separate category for them, and then we'll be bringing some anchor investment into those based on the strength of the district, based on the positioning or the location of the district. So this is, we are continuously trying. FDI, definitely we are continuously attracting the highest FDI. We have signed more than 300 billion MOUs in last 2-3 years. Now we are continuously working almost on day-to-day basis. Either MIDC CSR is there, myself is there, then secretary, then CM office, minister office, and someone is taking the continuous follow-up of all those MOUs signed, what is happening, why and how we can help the investors to bring investment in Maharashtra. Sorry, I missed your first question.
He talked about the refinery.
Refinery. So for the refinery, government is continuous stock, and we are exploring multiple investors with reference to refinery, and hope to see a very big refinery in Maharashtra very soon.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Okay. 1 second, ma'am. I think he has the mic already. Yes, please go ahead.
Hi. Thank you for a wonderful insight from all of you. My name is Snehildal. I'm a criminologist by profession. I've been running my company called Crimophobia for more than 16 years. I have a basic question for all of you. Taking the example of Prada, they have recognized and they have created a parameter for making a company as a brand name. What is the state doing? Has the state been creating any kind of parameters that that these are the eligibility of a company to be recognized as a brand? That is one question. Second one is, with the increase in transnational organized crime, what are we focusing when international companies are coming down to India and Indian companies also moving abroad? So what parameters have been created for the organized crime scenarios as well?
So again, I believe, let me respond first. With reference to the branding and the protecting the copyright or the art of the state, we are working on 2-3 fronts. First, there is a scheme called One District, One Product. Under this scheme, we have identified, though the name is the One District, One Product, but we have identified 2 products from each district of the Maharashtra, and there are 72 products. I'll definitely share that coffee table book with all of you, and this QR code. This will be very helpful. Now we are doing a 7-point program for these One District, One Product program. Under this One District, One Product program, the most important is the capacity building. Second is the designing, branding, packaging, and marketing. Who will do that? So we are doing the institutional tie-up, like the Design Institute of India, like the Packaging Institute of India, Export Promotion Council. So they know what kind of demand is there in which country. So how we should, uniform packaging, uniform designing cannot go now universally. So there will be design, packaging, and branding according to the demand side of the country. Then quality testing and certification of that product again is an important issue. So we are working on this. We are trying to set up the certification and quality testing and certification cell, NABL accredited lab in each district to get this certification quickly. Then the capacity building of the producers or manufacturers of these products by giving them the whole idea of the market and the design. Other than this, we have secured more than 40 plus GI tags for the Maharashtra specific product, including the Kolhapuri chapel, and that's why it has become an issue for Prada now, and now they are into a legal soup. And some very positive news will come for the Kolhapuri chapel makers due to this GI tag which we have obtained. And we are in process of getting more than 35 plus GI tag in a span of 3 to 4 months. So ODOP, GI tag, and the scheme support, craftsman supports and small scale industry support we are providing through various schemes.
Hello, hi, I'm Priya Pansare and I'm a Director of Trade and Investments Promotion at the World Trade Center, Mumbai, where we are. My question to you, sir, is that yes, infrastructure is very important, critical for Maharashtra's goal of 1 trillion. But what is the state doing to boost startups and women-led enterprises? And my second question is, how can platforms like World Trade Center Mumbai be better integrated with Maharashtra's trade strategy facilitation? Thank you.
Again, I believe, if you allow. First thing, again policy, we have a women entrepreneurship development policy. Under that policy, there are some specific provisions for the women entrepreneurs. Why? Because this requires a special attention. Currently, if we see the data, there is a huge gap between the women entrepreneurs and the total number of entrepreneurs. So there is a huge gap. But this requires a lot of other support also other than this policy support. This requires the capacity building. This requires them to give them the exposure. This requires give them a comfort of doing business. We always talk about ease of doing business, cost of doing business, regulation of doing business, but we give the women a comfort. Yes, you can go and visit any office, or you don't have to visit any office, you will get all the permission in your office only by a laptop only. So that kind of comfort we need to give, and we are continuously working upon that. Fiscal incentive will definitely matter to encourage more women to come and set up their businesses under the Chief Minister Employment Generation Program. This is a very small scale industrial entrepreneur development program. But every year we are giving or sanctioning almost 25,000 cases. I am happy to share that almost 53% of these beneficiaries are women. There would be multiple reasons, because they are getting more incentive in the name of women, but I am sure this benefit definitely will create a long-term impact. Initial years might have some issues, but long-term impact, more women will come forward. Second, under a new policy, we are creating 2-3 categories: women entrepreneur plus the women employment and the percentage. There will be multiple permutation and combinations. This will decide the additional incentive component for the women entrepreneur, and I am sure this will again help the women entrepreneurs to come forward and take the benefit and compete with other counterparts. So second is about the WTC association. So your organization is more active than us, and I am proud to say that. I am happy. Lot of support and knowledge sharing is happening. Mostly it is one way, but we will try to engage you in terms of policy making. We will try to engage with you, or we will try to go with you for the capacity building, awareness campaign, and many more such programs can be conducted together. In last 2 years, we have conducted more than 417 programs across Maharashtra. So if you count the number of working days, will be around 400 in last 2 years. So every day there was a program related to industry awareness, related to industrial participation, and we have reached out to more than 1 lakh people through this program. So WTC, we see a lot of synergy with WTC, and I'll be happy to connect with you. Thank you.
We'll take last 2 questions. Yeah, no.
Good evening to everyone. I am Pramod Shah, President of the Bombay Management Association and also former Chairman of Institute of Company Secretaries of India. There are 2 small observations. One is that we have seen recently the trend. Various states come to Maharashtra, they put road show and many other things to attract the industries from Maharashtra to shift to other states. So what measures could be taken that there is no the negative shifting like that, sir? And number 2, sir, you have observations on the foreign direct investments in Maharashtra compared to other states. Thank you.
Can you repeat that?
He's basically saying that other states are advertising the corporates to come or to set up their firms in business.
So what we are doing?
What we are doing to.
So CEO sir is already there, and MIDC is the nodal body for the investment promotion. We as a MATRI also is the front body to support the investors. We do conduct road shows in multiple countries. We do attend the all flagship event happening across the globe. Especially the most important event is the World Economic Forum, which happens every year in January in Davos. Since last 3 years, we are securing the highest amount of investment through Davos WEF. This year, in 2025, we have signed MOU of more than 200 billion in Davos only. Other than that, we do conduct programs here. We do conduct a roundtable conference with the council generals of various countries. Through them, we try to create awareness and we try to resolve the problems of investors of various countries, and this create a perception, positive environment about Maharashtra, positive talk about Maharashtra. Other than this, we are going to the district also. Since last 2 years, we are conducting district investment summit in Maharashtra. So first year we conducted, and 96,000 crore rupees investment we have secured through the local investor and mostly from the MSME. And this year we have signed MOU of 1,27,000 crore through district investment summit, and again most of them are from the small scale and medium scale investors. For last year, out of 96,000, 83,000 crore rupees investment either completed or in pipeline. So the success ratio is almost 90%. We are tracking each and every small investment. So within the country, outside country, within the state, outside state, and we have sectoral teams also, the semiconductor, emerging sector, thrust sector, core sector, advanced sector, every sector we are trying to cover. So we will be happy to take your suggestions, feedback. There is a possibility we might be missing something which we are supposed to do. We will take your suggestion and will add to these initiatives. Thank you.
Yes, this gentleman.
माझं नाव रवींद्र रघुवंशी. मी पहिली इंडस्ट्री टाकली होती 1970 साली, आणि आपण खूप चांगलं बोलताय इंडस्ट्रीबद्दल. MOU एवढे झाले, हे पर्सेंटेजमध्ये आम्हाला हे मिळालं ते मिळालं, पण इथे टीमाचे व्हाईस प्रेसिडेंट आहेत आणि मी वसईच्या माझी इंडस्ट्री आहे वसईमध्ये. पालघर जिल्ह्यामध्ये 28,000 इंडस्ट्री आहेत, आणि जर तुम्ही वापीपर्यंत जर पाहिलं तर मला वाटतं 60,000 ते 70,000 इंडस्ट्रीज असतील. फक्त यांना विचारा तुम्ही की आम्ही कुठल्या परिस्थितीत इंडस्ट्री चालवतोय. तुम्ही भविष्याबद्दल बोलताय, तुम्ही चांगलं बोलताय, खूप चांगलं आहे. वीज नाही, रस्ते नाही, तुम्ही फक्त मनोर ते वाडा प्रवास करा, तुम्हाला कळेल काय परिस्थिती आहे. आणि इथे जी काही चर्चा चालू आहे, ती फक्त चांगली चर्चा चालू आहे. तुम्ही फक्त एकदा ग्राउंड लेवलला या, तरच तुम्हाला कळेल की महाराष्ट्राची काय परिस्थिती आहे. येणारे दिवस भयानक आहेत. आता तुम्हाला मी एकच उदाहरण सांगतो. मी एक व्हॅक्यूम ड्रायर शोधून काढला आहे ज्याच्यामध्ये आपले जे 2 लाख कोटी रुपयाचं नुकसान होतं ते भरून निघेल. मी मंत्र्यांना भेटलो, मी बऱ्याच लोकांना भेटलो, कोणालाही काही पडलेलं नाही. आता अजून एक उदाहरण सांगतो. ॲम्स्टरडॅमहून इन्क्वायरी आली आहे, US वरनं इन्क्वायरी आली आहे, पोस्टाने मी पार्सल पाठवले. 13 मेला गेलेलं पार्सल जून 20ला अमेरिकेला पोचलं. हे आमचं एक्सपोर्ट आहे. व्हेरी बॅड, एव्हरीथिंग इज बॅड, देर इज नथिंग गुड हिअर. अँड आय हॅव कम हिअर टू लिसन समथिंग अबाउट द SME, बट यू आर डिस्कसिंग ओनली अबाउट द हाय लेवल. दिस इज माय प्रॉब्लेम.
Let me respond to this query also, this feedback and suggestion. I appreciate and what should I say? तुमचं जे कन्सर्न आहे की आम्ही तुमच्यापर्यंत पोहोचलो नाही. There is a possibility आम्ही तुमच्यापर्यंत पोहोचायला कमी पडलो असेल. Listen to me. I have not disturbed you. Okay. So मी तेच म्हणतोय की तुमच्यापर्यंत पोहोचल्यास आम्ही कमी पडला असेल, पण आमचे कमिटमेंटमध्ये कुठेही किंवा आमच्या इंटेन्शनमध्ये कुठेही असं नाही आहे की तुमच्यापर्यंत पोचायचे नाही किंवा तुमच्यावर दुर्लक्ष करायचे आहेत. आपण आज हा मुद्दा मांडलेला आहे. ज्या ज्या वेळी आमच्याकडे असा फीडबॅक येतो त्या त्यावेळी आम्ही ह्याला पॉझिटिव्हली घेतो आणि ह्याला इग्नोर करण्याचा आमचा कोणताही कधीही मानस आणि हेतू नसतो. माझी तुम्हाला रिक्वेस्ट आहे, जे काही इश्यूज आहे प्लीज मला राईट नोट करून तुम्ही द्या. वी विल ट्राय अवर बेस्ट. CO साहेब इथे आहे, इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर त्यांचे रिलेटेड आहे, MSMEचे लोक आहे आणि पॉलिसी रिलेटेड आहे. तिघे मिळून तुमचे प्रयत्न सोडवण्याचा प्रयत्न करू. जे आमचे पातळीचे नसतील ते विषय योग्य पातळीवर कसे त्यांची पोचवता येतील त्याच्यासाठी आम्ही प्रयत्न करू. अँड विल बी हॅपी टू रिझॉल्व ऑल दोज प्रॉब्लेम. आणि आम्ही त्याला इग्नोर केला तर आम्हाला दुःख होईल, त्याचा आनंद नाही होणार. थँक्यू.
Sir, एक minute. We'll take one last question.
My name is Dr. Sanjay Vide. I'm from Trans-Asian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Our chamber exists for the last 26 years. See, I heard about vertical development for industries. Have you envisaged the pollution? Have you really envisaged the recycling and other sustainable development while promoting vertical development for industrial development particularly? Because as it is, only ground level industries are growing. We are not able to solve the problems of ground level industries. Pollution at many places out of control. If you increase the height of the structure and have additional industries, the pollution will be concentrated in particular areas more. So whenever the planning is done at that particular place, see, even a residential building, I'm an architect basically, there used to be density control rule, even for staying. Still pollution was there in residential areas. If we really go on adding industries thoughtlessly, it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah. Should I respond?
He would want to respond. Yeah, you could please respond.
Yeah. Okay. So, as you rightly pointed out, there will be certain multiple issues going vertical. So, what I said, we are exploring the possibility of optimum utilization of resources. It does not mean that every industry will go vertical and will not take care of the pollution. We are drafting our policy in such a way that will take care of optimum utilization of resources, especially the land. So all of you will agree now the demand of land is very high and we are struggling to provide the land with the suitable rate, at the suitable locations. Places like Ranjangaon, Chakan, Talegaon, we are struggling for getting the land. So we need to optimize the use of the land also, but simultaneously we need to take care of the pollution, and for that we are bringing the circular economy policy, which will deal with every waste of the industry, every waste of the society, including industry waste, including the construction waste, e-waste, plastic waste, material waste, metal waste, everything we are bringing policy for that.
Yeah, thank you. Before we close, I'll just take a last comment from each of our panelists, starting with Mr. Radhakrishnan. No, we'll take it later, ma'am. We'll just have a closing statement from each of our panelists. You can talk to them on the sideline. So, Mr. Radhakrishnan, just wanting to, before we close, the subject is, Maharashtra economy touching 1 trillion by 2029. Are we being very conservative with listening to so many people as well as the audience? They also have their concerns. So how do you see that, and what are your thoughts on it? What do we require to do that, to have an inclusive growth?
With respect to the $1 trillion economy, it's not about are we conservative or are we aggressive. It's about are we really focused and on track to achieve it actually. So from that perspective, if you ask me, we are on track. Maybe we will be achieving it much before what we envisaged originally. But in that journey, most important thing is, will we be inclusive? Will we be sustainable? Will that journey will be more affordable? Especially one of the concerns raised here is like power cost being a very important factor, which decides the competitiveness of the product which we manufacture. So from these three perspectives, I'm very positive about it, considering the kind of developments which is happening currently. And to tell you, like it's not only about affordability aspect, it's about the environmental concern with which we are operating currently. So including like changing our energy mix, and how do we ensure that the power reliability is not compromised while addressing the sustainability and affordability aspect. So from these three aspects, if you ask me, $1 trillion economy is very much possible, and we are on top of it. And with the kind of broadened view, a holistic view with inputs from every stakeholder is taken into account, like with the way we are doing today, I'm pretty sure like the journey is going to be completely inclusive, and we may be reaching it much before many others try to do.
Thank you. Mr. Joshi, your thoughts also, how do we reach, as well as one, including how do we take along the SME, MSME to be frank, how do you see that growing in this entire ecosystem of reaching $1 trillion?
Thank you, sir. Let me just go a little bit into the flashback. The caption $1 trillion economy, $1 trillion economy came from FICCI's event Progressive Maharashtra, which was held in 2017. And after that, the buzz went on the $1 trillion economy. This was based on, we had discussed about various states which are moving towards $1 trillion economy, and California was taken as a base for that, and that's how then we came out with this caption for $1 trillion economy. And Honorable Chief Minister then also in 2017 had complimented FICCI for that. Just two things as far as on there's a lot of pertinent question raised on MSME. If we look at MSME's contribution in the manufacturing sector is about 32 to 35%. Now, if you look at countries like Germany, in Germany you have about 99.9%, which are the Mittelstand, which are family-run enterprises and MSMEs. Switzerland, Austria, they're more than 90%. In case if we can ramp up our MSME contribution to the manufacturing sector to about even 50%, you'll be able to add about 3 crore jobs. Secondly, MSMEs don't want surprises every now and then. I think that is really important. If they can have a streamlined approach on regulations and compliances, probably they will be able to do a lot more to the state. And Maharashtra has that kind of potential to bring in MSMEs and also help them. So I think Maharashtra is doing a lot to support MSMEs, but a lot more can be done. And we need to add about, say, 14 to 15% growth year on year to reach the $1 trillion economy ballpark if you want in 2028. Otherwise, we go to 2032. So, and I think we do have investing more into infrastructure, helping MSMEs can certainly make us reach our goal of $1 trillion economy soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Pratik, your closing statement, and particularly from an aspect of startup ecosystem, how do you see Maharashtra, taking along, getting into that $1 trillion economy As Mr. Joshi said, we need to grow by 14-15%. Your closing statement, also considering the startup ecosystem in the state.
See, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been born in an entrepreneurial family, so I'm biased when I say this. But entrepreneurs are very smart. If the opportunity is there, the demand is there, and the conducive environment is there, they take care of themselves, right? Whether it's MSME, startups, whatever. The job, all of us, is to create that environment. I would like to say two things only. One is power, coming back to power, because it is too important, right? You fix it, you're fixing 30, 40, 50%, including what gentleman was suggesting, right? I think today, if you think of the value chain, you have generation, transmission, distribution. As sir rightly said, we're doing pretty well in generation. Actually, it's not a major issue, right? We have to ramp up quickly, especially in renewables, which has large amount of land requirement, law and order issues, but I think we will fix that. Minister said he will fix it. Transmission, we need urgent investment in transmission, especially private sector investment. Government of India has attracted 2 lakh crores of private sector investment in transmission. Maharashtra can do the same, and therefore it can then divert that capital, instead of going into assets, can go into other things like social infrastructure. Biggest issues in distribution, we still have 18 to 20% AT&C losses compared to the best in the country, which is probably city of Mumbai or city of Ahmedabad, which can come down to single digit. That itself will reduce the cost by 1-2 rupees just by doing that. So we must take the bull by the horn, fix these 3 issues. Last thing I will say, we must fix cleanliness, hygiene in at least 5 major cities in Maharashtra, both the garbage as well as the air, and make them global world-class cities where anybody, anywhere in the world or in India, would like to move there with the family and start a business there. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, Anand, we could just take your last comments. Also considering a slowdown in urbanization, how do you see, urbanization slowing down, and then your comment on how do we reach the $1 trillion mark?
Yeah, I think the slowdown, these are cycles that keep coming and up and down, and I don't think we should lose too much sleep on that. I think in the longer term, the large will not beat the small, but the fast will beat the slow. So we have to make sure that we execute to the point. I've seen the economic master plan of Maharashtra. It is unbelievable. I would give it a score of 10 on 10. I think it is only about execution, and just making that happen. If we make 80% of that happen, we will achieve and we will exceed the targets that we have set. Second is, I would say, just do no wrong. You have a lot of states that shoot themselves on the foot by making some mistakes here and there. So as long as we just stay the path and not make mistakes, we will be on our way. And I'd say just focus on a few industries. I'd say focus on those 2 or 3 industries. Pratik mentioned about that whatever those future S-curve industries are, if we are able to crack 1 or 2 or 3 of those, we'll be in the clear.
Great. Yeah, Mr. Kushwaha, your last words. I think they have summed it up very well, but I think, addressing the gentleman's problem as well as the inclusive growth, because we need to take everyone along. How do you see this? Because it's not just Maharashtra, but all other states also eyeing that thing. How do we see?
So I will start adding with Anand. As you said, the slow speed of urbanization. My take on this is little different. Why do we need now fast urbanization? Why can't we make our every village and small town and the big town more livable, more with mature infrastructure, and we should be able to, if you go to country in Europe, you find at each and every village with a better infrastructure, and you feel like you should live there, and you can start business there. So this is the approach we are bringing, inclusivity. So whenever we make policy, we decided to bring investment each and every part of Maharashtra. Because now technology is playing such a role. You don't have to go to one particular city, but you need an infrastructure, you need better connectivity, you need better better lifestyle facility, school, education. If you provide all these things in village, every part of Maharashtra will become industrial hub will become a growth center for the development. So this is about the regional development. We should develop our towns, villages according to that. And this is happening. If you see, Samriddhi is giving a way, has opened many doors to many districts for the lot of investment. Similarly, all sections of the society, not one particular section, all sections of the society will get the opportunity to grow in a faster manner or the equal manner. So that we are bringing in our policy, and we as a government, it is our duty to do that. Third, the investment already happened in Maharashtra. Like one gentleman raised the issues about their investment since last 1970. We can't ignore them because they are the backbone of our industrial growth. So we need to take their issues, we need to resolve their issues, and we need to make a better ecosystem where everyone will grow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think it was a good discussion and point taken from the audience. I think they are also addressed by the panelists here. I would request everyone to give a big hand to the panelists. Thank you very much.
My last submission, please feel free to reach out to us without any hesitation. We'll be happy to respond to each and every query of you. We'll try to attend each and every problem related to investment, infrastructure, policy, incentive, investment, everything. And we are there for you. Thank you. I'll leave our details so you can send the mails also.
एकच विनंती आहे, मी आपल्याला पण जरा बसण्याची विनंती करतो, कारण समारोपाचं मनोगत माननीय वेलारासू सर करणार आहे, पण त्याआधी पॅनलचं एकदा जोरदार टाळ्या त्यांच्यासाठी झालं पाहिजे. आपण लोकसत्ताच्या वतीने ह्या सगळ्या मान्यवरांचं स्वागत करूया. ते स्वागत करण्याची विनंती मी इंडियन एक्सप्रेस समूहाचे माननीय कार्यकारी संचालक श्री अनंत गोयंका सरांना करतो. त्यांच्या हस्ते आपण सगळी स्वागत करणार आहोत. सर्वप्रथम माननीय दिनेश जोशी सर, अध्यक्ष आहेत सत्यगिरी समूह, तसंच सहअध्यक्ष आहेत फिक्की महाराष्ट्र. यानंतर सरांना विनंती करतो पुढचं स्वागत माननीय प्रतीक अग्रवाल सरांचं आपण करतो. व्यवस्थापकीय संचालक आहेत स्टरलाइट इलेक्ट्रिक. एकदा जोरदार टाळ्या त्यांच्यासाठी. यानंतर पुढचं स्वागत आपण करतो आहोत माननीय अनंत गोयंका सरांचं, आरपीजी समूहाचे उपाध्यक्ष आहेत. एकदा जोरदार टाळ्या त्यांच्यासाठी झालं पाहिजे. यानंतर माननीय श्री राधाकृष्णन बी सरांचं आपण स्वागत करणार आहोत. माननीय अध्यक्ष आणि व्यवस्थापकीय संचालक आहेत महाजेनको. आणि यानंतर माननीय दीपेंद्र सिंग कुशवाहा सरांचं आपण स्वागत करणार आहोत. सन्माननीय विकास आयुक्त आहेत महाराष्ट्र शासन. धन्यवाद सर, आपल्या सगळ्यांचे मनपूर्वक आभार. थँक्यू सो मच. आपल्याला विनंती करतो आपण कृपया समोर आसनस्थ व्हावं. महाराष्ट्र औद्योगिक विकास महामंडळाचे मुख्य कार्यकारी अधिकारी माननीय श्री पी वेलारासू सरांना मी विनंती करतो, त्यांनी कृपया व्यासपीठावरती यावं. एकदा जोरदार टाळ्या त्यांच्यासाठी झाल्या पाहिजे. आधी सरांचं आपण स्वागत करणार आहोत आणि मग सर आपल्याला संबोधित करतील. स्वागत करण्याची विनंती वर्ल्ड ट्रेड सेंटर मुंबईचे माननीय अध्यक्ष श्री विजय कलंत्री सरांना करतो. त्यांनी कृपया व्यासपीठावरती यावं. त्यांच्या हस्ते आपण हे स्वागत करतो. एकदा जोरदार टाळ्या या दोन्ही मान्यवरांसाठी. धन्यवाद सर. यानंतर सर आपल्याला संबोधित करतील.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was a very scintillating and wonderful conversation. I think many of the relevant questions were discussed. I felt I was sitting in my college days. I used to study economics. I felt like I was in the economics class again. Many concepts started with the land. I think it was Ricardo's theory of national wealth. So the land is a main thing. I think today we have come back to the same circle. You want to create wealth, you want to put more industries, but where is the land? That is the big question. Land is become very expensive also. It's become unaffordable. Most of the industries, the first component in the cost calculation is the cost of land. I think we have to work on that. You discussed many topics. There is something about Mumbai, Maharashtra, all of you will agree. That's why Maharashtra has been always in the forefront in the industry development. Most of the people settle down in different cities of India for various reasons. They settle in Chennai for different reason, Kolkata different reason, Delhi for different reason. But the people settle in Mumbai, they settle for trade and industry, the old textile parks, everything, money of course. So it's for that purpose. So I think we have been doing pretty well. I don't need to repeat the statistics. Maybe the FDI, the kind of MOEs we sign, with the kind of MOEs we operationalize, even our GDP, you mentioned we are the highest in the terms of GDP. You take any of the parameters, we are doing pretty well, but it should not become the story of the hare and tortoise. That's why we are all assembled here. We don't want to sleep, and we don't want to let any tortoise to take over us. So we have to be very alert. So to win the race, you know, reaching the top is easy, but remaining there is always a difficult proportion, right? This all of us in the corporate sector, everybody knows. So to maintain our top level position, the government of Maharashtra is doing a pretty lot of things. One is connecting the Maharashtra through various infrastructure network. One is Samriddhi, another is Shaktipeeth is coming. There are a lot of roads we have taken under PPP mode, the HAM model. So the various places, I traveled different parts of Maharashtra, I see even Nanded, Parbhani, the old places. When I was there working there, the roads were pathetic. Now they are very pretty good. So we are trying to create a lot of infrastructure, the private investment, and the kind of policies we keep improvising our policies. We bring new policies. The idea is to move towards the 1 trillion is official thing, but informally it is 1.5 trillion, right? So we always tom-tom about the high growth rates, maybe 6.5% growth rates, great GDP. But in economics, we were taught the growth rates are very high when you have low base, right? That is also, we have to keep it in mind. When we compare ourselves with China, I think the discussion, it was very interesting for some reasons. Somebody asked the question, why our scale is not so big. So when you go to China, the people who are going to China, different countries, you know what the scale means. The scale is where your vision is not restrained only to the local market. The scale is where you have the unhindered whole market and produce. Again, it brings me to the thought of the Say's law in economics. It says supply creates the demand, not the demand creates the supply. So again, somehow I got so many flashbacks today. So you have capability to supply to the whole world, then it creates, we open up some market for you, right? So we have to work on that. We are doing pretty well. Somebody talked about data centers. Yes, we are the leaders in India, right? So, but we are only 2% of the world's data center capacity. If you see what is in US, you are not even only 2%, right? So within India, you can always say we are the leaders. But should we be happy about what we are now, or we want to reach somewhere else? We want to compare ourselves with the best economy of the world. That is altogether a different game. I think we have to work on all the fronts. All the fronts meaning your ecosystem have to improve. Ecosystem means it has a physical ecosystem. You open an industry, somebody comes and beats you up, or somebody comes and say, give my man work in the factory. These things commonly happen, right? So you want to open, and you don't know that fellow may not meet even half of your skill set requirement. So you can't convince this to this fellow. That fellow wants employment, you want to run some exports. You are talking about export. So there is a lot of mismatch. This is about geographical ecosystem, then financial ecosystem, then cultural ecosystem, then you need the HR, right? When I was in US, I was in US for some time. I studied there. So whenever you travel from city to city, our people always say there is another city coming. So you go to the city, the population will be 8,000. So you go to another city, it is 15,000. 15,000 is a big city, but people don't complain. They live there happily because those cities have all the things it's needed. It has the health club, it has a school, it has a hospital. It is all self-containing cities. So even a 10,000 city, 15,000 city, people can be very comfortable. They enjoy living there because it has everything, right? But ours is highly concentrated, so people migrate. The fellow who is in Gadchiroli, he will come to Nagpur. The fellow who is in Nagpur, he wants to come to Pune. The fellow who is in Pune, he wants to come to Bombay. The fellow who is in Bombay, he wants to run away to some other country. So you are not happy, you don't want to develop. So the main job is, like he correctly pointed out, why don't we create multiple growth centers, livable cities, which we can be proud of. We don't need 30, 40 cities. At least create 4, 5 cities which are world class. I think we should focus on that. And we should focus on, he made a comparative statement of Telangana. We have been doing that, means we have been reading that. So I think definitely we will work on that. So from the industry department, we are already taken note of it. We are going to work on a lot of self-certification. We are not going to do even that 7 days, 10 days. So unless the contrary is proved, the industrial is right. That kind of approach you are going to go towards that. We will go for most of the things self-certification mode. Of course, we will do some checking later. That is a post facto. We don't have to wait. Even the building plan approvals and other things, we want you to go through a private architect and get the plans approved. We are working on a lot of other things. One greatest thing I feel, the strength of Maharashtra is the political leadership is amazing and very mature. The intention is very good. Once the intention is there, then everything will follow. So how do you bring your investment? How do you create the infrastructure? That are all the follow-up actions. But the intent is clear, then everything will follow. I think in Maharashtra, the political intention, irrespective of whosoever be the main chair, so they want the industries to grow without any trouble. They want the industries to achieve. I think they want the industries to be the main driver to take us to the 1.5 trillion thing, right? They have a tremendous faith. I think this is time, instead of someone raise, you are talking only goody things. Yes, right. So it is, I think we have to take note of all the things which are not so good and we have to address them. Then covering those negativities, only we can reach to the 1.5 trillion economy. But that is a collective task. It is the task of government also. It is task of the private investors also. It is task of the public also. So I think everybody, all of us collectively work together, I think we will slowly reach there. With these words, I won't hold you long. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you.
धन्यवाद सर, मनपूर्वक आभार. महाराष्ट्र औद्योगिक विकास महामंडळ प्रस्तुत लोकसत्ता उद्योग संपन्न महाराष्ट्र चर्चासत्र 2025 इथे संपूर्ण होतं. धन्यवाद. पुन्हा एकदा आपल्या सगळ्यांचे मनपूर्वक आभार.